Alright, we back again. Doing the picks for week 6. Now, let me explain this. Please gamble responsibly, number 1. Number 2, this is a strategy that you should be going about if you're using these picks to gamble. This is the strategy that I would suggest. I'm not betting on these games, but if I was, these are definitely the picks that I'd be playing. And there's a reason why I'm saying that these guys are going to win. Now, when you pick the game, obviously, well, not necessarily obviously, that's why I'm explaining it. There's 3 bets. You bet on the total, you bet on the point spread, and you bet on the team win or lose. You place on all 3 bets on all of these games. Okay? So, you're going to pick a team to win the game. Either that, if it's an underdog bet, I'm not making a 3rd bet. So, this week, I'm going to get back to it and say it again. But Seattle and Jacksonville, Seattle's an underdog. Jacksonville's favored by 1.5 points. I'm going to pick Seattle. I'm going to pick Seattle to win. And if they win, usually for every point they win by, you get paid extra. Because they're the underdog. Especially if they win, well, in this case, they're 1.5 point underdog. So anything past 1.5 points that they win by, if they win by 2, every point that they win by after that, you get paid extra. So you don't have to place a 3rd bet if they win. Obviously, they're going to generate more money, and then that's one less bet that you have to place. And you bet on the total, the point total. So you place 3 bets per game. This hedges your bets. See what I'm saying? So this is to avoid you loading up and putting a whole bunch of money on one game. If I was putting these out to where I expect you to pick, I only put out 2 or 3 games, and it's like, these guys are going to win for sure. It's like, I'm not doing that. You know what I'm saying? It's much more better strategy to bet on every game than to bet on every game 3 times. So if you do that, you're going to come out much more chances of winning. So, that said, we're going to pick these games for week 6. Right now, last week, like I said, I ended up being 7-7, 5-7 against the spread, 9-5 picking the total. But on the year, I am 50-25 picking winners and losers, 32-24 against the spread, and 39-33 picking the total. So we very much in the green, in the black, whatever you want to call it. We picking winners out here. So just make sure you gamble on all the games. You don't go say, hey, he said this one was going to win, and then lose, and you lose all your money. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't got enough money to hedge your bets, probably shouldn't be betting. That's not my business. Anyway, please gamble responsibly. So, here we go. Week 6, tonight. Division matchup. Philadelphia at New York. Philadelphia, 7.5 point favorite. I am taking my Eagles to cover. We need this bounce back game anyway. Picking Philly to cover that 7.5. 39.5 is the total. I am taking the over on that. Denver at the New York Jets. Denver is a 6.5 point favorite. I'm taking Denver to cover. 43.5 is the total. I'm taking the over. Arizona at Indianapolis. Indianapolis is a 7.5 point favorite. 46.5 is the total. I'm taking Indianapolis to cover. And at 46.5, I'm taking the under on the total. Los Angeles Chargers, 3.5 point favorite at Miami. I'm taking the Chargers to cover. 3.5 points. 42.5 is the total. I'm taking the over. New England at New Orleans. New England is a 3.5 point favorite. 45.5 is the total. I am taking New England to cover the 3.5 points. 45.5, I am taking the over on the total. Cleveland at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, 6.5 point favorite. At home versus Cleveland, I'm taking Pittsburgh to cover. 38.5 is the total, and I'm taking the over on that as well. Dallas at Carolina. Dallas is 3.5 point favorite. I'm taking Dallas to cover. 49.5 is the total, and I'm taking the over on that too. Seattle at Jacksonville. Again, 1.5 point favorite. The Jaguars over the Seahawks. I'm taking Seattle as an underdog bet. And 47.5 is the total on that. I'm taking the under. Los Angeles Rams at Baltimore. 7.5 point favorite. The Rams are favorite in Baltimore. I am taking the Rams to cover. 45.5 is the total. I am taking the over. Tennessee at Las Vegas. Las Vegas is a 4.5 point favorite. And I'm taking Las Vegas to cover. Shout out to Zoe. I think they're going to get this one. 41.5 is the total. And I'm taking the over on that one. Cincinnati at Green Bay. 14.5 is the total. I'm sorry. Cincinnati at Green Bay, 14.5 point favorite is Green Bay at home. Green Bay is a 14.5 point favorite at home against Cincinnati, and I'm taking Green Bay to cover that. 44.5 is the total, and I'm taking the over as well. San Francisco at Tampa Bay, 2.5 points. This is a tough game right here. Tough game, I ain't gonna lie, but I'm gonna take San Francisco as an underdog. They used to playing in this warm weather, and I know it's gonna be warm down there, so I'm taking them on the road against Tampa Bay and their kicker. And 47.5 is the total. I'm taking the over on that. Detroit at Kansas City. Kansas City is a 2.5 point favorite. I'm taking Detroit at Arrowhead as an underdog bet. 52.5 is the total. I'm taking the over on that for sure, because they're going to put some points up in that one, I think. Buffalo at Atlanta. 4.5 point favorite. Buffalo at Atlanta. A little surprised at that, but I bet that line changes. And they'll probably make me lose this game, but I'm going to pick Buffalo anyway to cover the 4.5 points. Also, I say the lines move all the way up until the time at the start of the game. If you place a bet and you want to keep that juice, they usually let you. But if the line changes, as long as you let them know, they'll let you change it. You know what I'm saying? They'll let you change it, get the juice that they giving closer to game time, because that's usually more accurate. So, but I bet you, last week, what was it? San Francisco and the Rams, I got the 8.5 point line. And then when the game started, right before the game started, the line was 3.5. 5 points is a big difference. You saying the Rams gonna win by 8.5, and then right before the game you switch it, or the next day you switch it to 3.5. That's a big jump. That's not normal either for it to jump that far, but it's like, that's a big jump. So I'm taking Buffalo to cover, 4.5 point favorite on the road at Atlanta. 50.5 points is the total, and I'm taking the over on that. They're gonna score some points for sure. Chicago at Washington. Washington is a 4.5 point favorite, which makes sense to me. So I'm taking Washington to cover. 49.5 is the total, and I'm taking the over on that. So I'm going to trust the work that I have done. Hopefully you do as well. Gamble responsibly. enjoy the NFL weekend. Holla at y'all.